Hello, everyone. John Doyle from OptixEQ. In today's video race today, we got a special treat. We got a guest, and it's Barry Benjamin. Barry, where you from? Florida now? Long Island? Where originally Long Island? Now where are you?
Yeah, I'm originally Long Island. I've been kind of up and down the East Coast the last, I don't know, 10 or 15 years almost. Florida, North Carolina, now I'm in Delaware of all places.
Wow.
Yeah, and settling in back into the cold.
All right. Well, great. I really appreciate you having you. I've talked to him a little bit before. He seems like a really avid handicapper. And so he's going to take us through. We're going to look at race 5 from Gulfstream Park tomorrow. And that's going to be, what date's tomorrow? It's the 14th of January. Wow.
Yeah.
Moving right along. It's a good race. It's a grass race. And I think both Barry and I are against the favorites in this race. So there might be some value here. So I'm going to have him lead it off. I got the plot up there so he can kind of talk you through it. And then we'll move on to the grid and close it out with some opinions.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there's nothing but opinions of handicapping, right?
That's right.
Good, bad, and in between. But yeah, I look at this, like I said, mostly like you do, John. And what I saw was we got some big circles over on the left of this plot. They don't change too much. They stay at least over on the left. And we got some decent closers because that's what I think we're looking for. We've got some speed in this race and some contention, not the crazy amount that we like to look for, but
right.
but decent.
Yeah.
You know, well above average, certainly on the speed. Yeah. The contention, is nice and a decent plot fit again. So let's just jump into run them down. I guess 1 through 9 or 1 through 10.
Cool.
And go from there.
All right.
So
you start with the number 1, Mohawk, right?
Yeah, we'll start with Mohawk. And again, what I saw was not amazing unless we come off the turf. Then I put a pin in it, and then he's maybe one of my guys. But I'm going to handicap it as if we're staying on the grass and it doesn't rain in South Florida like it often does. So that was my assessment of him. There's a lot of red over on the right. He's either the lone speed or he's got an easy lead. He got bunched up this times, and his best races kind of look behind him on the turf anyway. So
right. I'm just going to filter on turf there, Barry, so people could see.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only had that one decent race, and again, he was lone and looked like the race maybe fell apart because he finished 3rd. It looked like it was a blanket at the end. So, like you're right, it doesn't look like turf is his preferred surface.
No, and he's done it all out of town.
Right.
When it comes to Gulfstream, it doesn't matter. The track matters. The
right.
2, it was kind of an easy one. He just doesn't look fast enough. Not against this crew. So I didn't spend a lot of time. He's got the red words again over on the right. You're hearing the B in those, but that's at Ellis Park, and it's just not gonna cut it against this crew.
Yeah, and I'm just highlighting for the people here. If you look at the V bars above, you can see all his V bars are below. Below. So that's an indication that Barry was saying he's too slow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jumps on to the 3 who I did like, to be in the mix. He's got some good turf form. He's got solid mid-80s numbers. He's another one that'll handle it if it comes off the turf and to the Tapeta, which is, become like a battle trying to handicap the Tapeta down there. But he looks all right. He's in there with a lot of his races where, if you look back at Tampa, the race, on February last year, he comes off the bench, he throws out an 88 in a race that was figured to go 89 down to 83. So he's right in there with the field, and he's right in there again his second time at Tampa. So he looks okay against this.
And the other thing is I don't know how much you kind of look at this too, Barry, but he's like 3rd. It looks like he's almost, well, it's not really 3rd off a layoff, but pretty much 3rd off a layoff. So maybe there's, upside there. You got Proctor. But Proctor he was really good several years ago. He's kind of fallen off a little bit, hasn't he? At least maybe his.
he's not one of the guys being talked about, I guess, but he's
No,
still around,
yeah.
you know.
Well, he's always a good trainer, though.
Right.
And he always was. And this is Glenn Hill is, you know, his stable, right? That's the Procter and Gamble, I think, guy. I forgot.
I think so.
Or something. I don't know. Some big CEO somewhere. He was owned something. I don't know. But this is the, you know, his barn that he fires from. So
yeah.
okay.
And just one last note, you know, he's got a lot of layoffs, but he comes off strong, or strong enough for this group.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Like, so, you know, when we look at layoffs, you know, I look for exceptions. To Barry's point, that's how this horse runs. So it's less a problem than another horse. In fact, this is like the first time he's actually doesn't really have a layoff. You know, he had back in I guess it was back in 2020 in October at Laurel, he won with coming back in kind of what I would say a normal time. That was off the turfer, but this is kind of the first time he's actually running without a layoff in some time.
Hope
so.
Maybe with a good prep there. But then again, that was off the turf. But we'll see. Like, it could come off the turf.
Right.
I think some of these guys gamble on that happening. You know, especially in a place like South Florida. Let's moving on to the 4.
Yes.
Again, I just didn't see enough speed. There was nothing awful about him. He just doesn't. I don't think that he belongs here. He's throwing out these barely broken an 80, and this one race I just see as an anomaly. In fact, the last 2, because he jumps up so far from 77 up to a 94. He earns a solid B, but it's in this, you know, lesser race, the claiming 20,000 claimer, non-winners, whatever. And it's on the dirt, bearing in mind. He doesn't really have the turf form.
He doesn't.
Not
Let
in
me
the
do a
last
filter
year.
and turf. Yeah.
You know, so it's just not there. There's not.
I just highlighted too, again, you know, to your point, I just on the V bars, if you look at class competition, you can see his bars are below too. So
Yeah.
Just point that out.
Right.
Yeah. So that's that.
Going on to the 5.
Okay.
Yeah, this was another one. Would you miss something there?
No, yeah, it's just like I'm switching between my annotator and that, and sometimes okay, there you go.
Yeah, the 5, again, he was a toss for me because it seems like they don't know what they want to do with him. He's at Monmouth, he's at Colonial, he's being used in races that do come off the turf.
Yeah, he's running long, he's running, you know, very long,
right.
Extra long, yeah.
Right, almost marathon. He's got that one at, you know, 11 furlongs at Monmouth. The numbers are okay, but again, not gonna hit it against some of this group that he's up against. And he's not really in races that are anything special, in my opinion. Yeah, certainly not at Monmouth and Colonial. He's got the one at Gulfstream, his most recent, but that's a little low. And again, like I said, my little cliche of, you know, beat the street, he doesn't get anywhere near that. That race was going to go 96 down to 90 on your speed figures. He throws out an 81, comes up 7.
Right.
You know, I don't know if that's his Gulfstream debut. It's lacking. Well, no, he did. That's where he broke his maiden, but then we never saw him again. Yeah. Or he broke his maiden at Penn. But yeah, well, that's another thing. You know, it brings me to that. It almost seems like they shipped him off to a lesser track to break the maiden at that point.
Right.
He's not really doing it at Gulfstream. They ship him back up north in summer of 2020, and he runs, or he got sold or whatever. Who knows? But he has kind of a lackluster opening.
Yeah, I mean, all his wins are in versus lesser, right?
Right, the versus lesser. He's in lesser races, so not to let's not belabor.
Okay.
Not belabor the point on him any longer. The 6 was kind of a really big question mark for me. He's just running in these lesser races, but he threw out some decent numbers back last summer, I guess, 2021 in July, August.
Yeah.
And then he just falls apart. They shift him to the races that come off the turf and the all weather, and nothing happens. He goes on the Schneid in a big way. It would take a run back to form of summer of 2021, and he wasn't really up against what he's up against here. Maybe he's underneath it. The thing I did like about him is he was up against a lot of contention and a lot of speed in that time frame.
Right.
But
And I think he is today too. I don't think he gets like with the 7 in here and a couple others. It looks like to me his best race is when he gets an easy lead or alone.
yeah,
And if he doesn't get it, he's like nowhere to be found. He's got to be forwardly placed.
yeah,
I don't see him. If he's forwardly placed, maybe he can hit the board, but yeah, I think he doesn't win unless he gets an absolutely clean lead. It looks like to me.
right. I agree.
Yeah.
And the 7, he's going to be the favorite, and I'm not really grasping that either. I don't see the amazing turf form. He's got a good race where he won back. It was an optional claim at 75. He earns a B, dueled, he moved, showed some grit, but that's last May. And then he takes a dive, on a yielding turf at Gulfstream. Even if we wanted to, forgive him for that, he comes back.
And that was
2
Stakes
months.
Company, so that was not a great.
That's what I mean. Right. We could say,
Yeah.
well, he's over his head. He's over his head.
Yeah.
And he hit the board. Okay, but then you drop him down to 75. He doesn't hit the board, and he doesn't really improve much. Picks up 3 points on the speed figures. It's a half a furlong less than we're going today. Then he scratches. Then he ends up on the all weather, where he doesn't really do so great. Again, he goes out in this race on 11-14 last year, and he doesn't do as well as the field, in spite of the fact that he hits the board, or he doesn't do as well as it's projected for the race.
With him, I'm a little bit less. Like I like that race, the turf race, right? That he ran the 85, and that was a good race. And let's say whatever, he's against worse, loses a little confidence, falls off form a little bit, but he comes back. He runs 84. Let's say synthetic is not his preferred, or dirt is not his preferred surface, and he actually is really improved. You know what I'm saying, Barry?
Yeah.
I think I lost Barry. Okay, we lost your video there, but as long as you're still talking. So I'm just wondering, could he be even better than that going back to turf? That's the question. He's only a 3-year-old, so there's upside there. So I'm a little mixed with this guy. I don't know what to do with him. I think I lost Barry here. So anyway, that was the number 7. Hopefully Barry re-engage. I'm gonna move on to number 8 in this thing. And this is a horse that Barry and I have no clue why this horse is 3-1. So we're going to he just kind of he's won last time, but it was really against much lesser non-winners to a lifetime. He really hasn't improved from his 3-year-old season, like from early to late in his 3-year-old season. Really hasn't made much improvement from a Figs perspective. Maybe they're playing the combination of Saez and David, trainer Carlos David as the trainer. Just don't understand why this one would be this low. So we were kind of against that horse, kind of a deep closer too. The number 9, he's kind of like both Barry and I were a little bit kind of, maybe it's just this horse don't like the 3-month layoff, but this horse is always laid off. He's I guess what we were talking about before, that horse that typically is laid off. Horse that you can see from the plot perspective fits well on both standard and surface and distance. So a horse we might want to not exclude. I know Barry was using that horse to some extent. And then finally, the horse that we both kind of landed on was the number 10, Uncle Fun. And this is a horse that he came back. I mean, this horse constantly improving. As a 3-year-old, ran some really good figures with projection, would put this horse really above today's Optix fig range. Came back over a long layoff, was a little bit slow out of the gate. What I like about this horse is that he's going to get pace to close in, and he shows the ability to run wide with no cover. He's been able to make 2 moves. So this horse has, even though he's going to be in the deep post and he doesn't have much speed, looks like he's got some at least gears to kind of get him into the race and then maybe finish. And he's a big price at 15-1. Don't know you're going to get all that, but to me and Barry, we were talking about before the video, 8-1, he's value. So that's kind of the horse that we landed on. We went through all the horses in the race. Sorry we lost Barry late in the video, but this is John Doyle from OptixEQ. And well, let me just sign off with Barry here. Barry, you back? So, Barry, you back? I kind of went on. I'm not getting the audio on Barry. So anyway, that's it for race 5, Gulfstream Park, race of the day. Again, we're looking at the 10 as a huge value play. Barry likes him in all slots. Against the 8, he's a little bit against the 7 too. I'm a little more okay with the 7. And then the 9, and I think the other one was the 3 that we thought had some chances in here. Barry, did you hear me?
Yeah, I got back in. Nothing,
Sorry about
nothing
that.
like
I just figured we go on.
No, that's fine. You know where I'm at with it. We talked about the 8 to 9. What was it? The 10 to 9 and the 3.
Yeah, the 10 was our major key player in this. All right, everyone. If you're interested in doing this video with me, you just send us an email at optixeq.com. And thanks for listening. Appreciate it.